Hi everyone, this is Low Fiber Keto Girl here, and today I just wanted to give you an update on my low fiber keto diet. So there's been kind of some changes in the last month, and so I'm just kind of giving updates as things progress and I start to fine tune the diet. So as I mentioned in my last video that talked about my diet, I'm back to fat-free milk, back to having dairy in my diet. And yes, I've really realized the power of how healthy dairy really is. I guess it always takes me experimenting with plant foods to then finally come to the realization that animal foods are far superior than plant foods, especially when it comes to dairy, in my opinion. And when I think about it, it makes sense to me because milk is actually designed to be food. So it doesn't have any anti-nutrients. It doesn't have, it's not out to kill you like plants are actually like designed and out to like kill. They're designed to kill because they don't want the animals and insects and bugs eating them. So they have all these defense chemicals in them because unlike animals, they can't run away in defense. They have to use toxic poisons as their defense mechanisms. That really makes sense to me. I was thinking about that recently. Dr. Anthony Chaffee, how he always says, plants are trying to kill you. And I just totally agree with that statement because it just seems like the more plants I consume, the more I feel like I'm under attack. And so recently, here's a change that I've made. I have cut out all like cooked soft carrots that I was eating before. I had, even though I came back to dairy, I said that I was still maybe going to incorporate the carrots, but I wasn't sure. So now I have made that conclusion that nope, I don't need those plants in my diet. I do not need them. That it does not, I realized that it doesn't even do me any good. I don't really feel my best eating carrots, and I just don't want them. I can save on the root vegetables, I can save the lives of the root vegetables by not eating them. And so sorry, but the only plant food I just can't give up is chocolate. But that does grow on trees, and I feel good about that. That at least it's like kind of like a fruit that grows on trees. But botanically speaking, it would be the seed, or maybe it's called a drupe. I'm not sure, but it's I forgot. I've looked this up before, but basically the dark chocolate, what we call cocoa beans, they're like the seed because there's actually a fleshy fruit around that. So they come in these big fruit pods that look, kind of similar to like a papaya. And, essentially the chocolate would be like the little papaya seeds. I'm just using that as a comparison. So it comes on a tree. I feel really good about, consuming that versus other types of plant foods, which I definitely don't feel good about at all. And so my realization is basically that, plants are just out to attack you in every sense of the word. With all of the so-called phytonutrients, what they call phytonutrients are really anti-nutrients, and they're just basically different types of toxic chemicals that will wear and tear on your body. Like, it's not going to straight up kill you like it'll kill an insect, but just think, what kind of damage is that doing to a human being who just basically, why we're not dead is because we have a bigger body, so we're able to tolerate more poisons than a small little insect bug. And that's why these plants can cause damage. So eating the leaves, eating the stems, eating the flowers, what I mean by flowers would be like cauliflower, broccoli, stuff like that. And, but the leaves are like, kale, spinach, collard greens, cabbage, all those nasty cruciferous vegetables that are touted like, oh, these are so good for you. Eat your freaking cruciferous vegetables, all that stuff, and all the fiber that it comes along with that. Fiber is not required by the human body. We're not designed to even eat fiber. That's why it's considered completely indigestible. Cellulose fiber is completely indigestible to us. We are not like ruminant animals. We're not like cows and horses and sheep, which have cecum, or the monkeys. I don't know if the cows have that because they have the 4 chambers or stomachs or whatever, but like primates, like gorillas and stuff, they have the cecum. The cecum is where the fiber ferments into butyric acid, so short chain fatty acids, which then they use as fuel, as energy. So they actually convert that fiber, that cellulose, into usable short chain fatty acids. Our bodies cannot do that. We don't have the ability for that. Our cecum has dried up. It is no longer valid over the evolution of human beings and how they evolved. That little piece of equipment doesn't work in humans the way it does work in primates, humans. So that's why, it's like we're not really designed to eat those things. And I'm just realizing that more and more, because every time I come back to the milk, back to the dairy, I just feel like 100,000 times % better than when I try to do like a plant-based diet. It's like completely pathetic when I try to do plant-based. So that is my new realization for today. And just a little update on fats as well. I have lowered my intake on those oils. So they were, again, just not really feeling right for my body. I'm not saying that they're bad for other people, because they're very refined out from all those toxins that I just spoke about. So I kind of categorize those differently from plant foods. When I say, get your unsaturated fats through, plant oils and stuff, I don't really consider that to be a plant food, because it's like a refined oil. So you're not going to have all these anti-nutrients. Like if you're consuming canola oil, soybean oil, whatever, like it's not going to have oxalates and solanine and phytic acid and all that stuff that attacks you. So I'm just saying that could work for some people, having the unsaturated fats in that form. But just for myself, I'm just feeling better just sticking with dairy and chocolate and just avoiding all other plant foods. The only thing that I consume in small amounts is white refined sugar, and that is just in my chocolate chips or in my dark chocolate, or if I need to sweeten my pudding, if I don't have chocolate in my pudding, then I would use a tiny bit of white refined sugar, which has no anti-nutrients. That's right, no anti-nutrients. That's why it's safe for the hummingbirds, it's safe for the bees, it's safe for the ants, it's safe for all life can consume white refined sugar, pretty much. I 100% support, a dairy diet, like going all the way. It has all the nutrients. Like I said, it's the one thing that's designed to actually be food. And I can really feel the nutritional power that it has. And so I just wanted to make this video today to really explain that. And that's my new realization. So thanks for listening, everyone, and you all have a great day.